if you are really running a real business with intentions on making revenues, you should be concerned about how you spend your time. You should be concerned about maximizing the use of time, regardless of anyone else who may not understand the value of your time. And very often, customers will not understand the value of your time. You have to help them understand the value of your time. Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I'm Michelle Walker Way with Well Done Tax and Business Services. I have a little quick something. I think it's a little quick something I want to share with you. And this particular video is, the audience for this video is people who are in business for themselves. Solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, who really don't have a staff, people who are pretty much doing it on their own. And this is whether you are doing nothing but business, running your own business, or whether you have a job in a business. I'm talking to people who are actually running a business. And maybe you're not new in the process of running the business, or maybe you are, it doesn't really matter. But I want to talk about, basically it's the element of time. I'm talking about time, and I'm going to touch on processes. And I'm sharing this from a few words from this book called The Secrets of VITO, Think and Sell Like a CEO. And in this case, VITO stands for Very Important Top Officer. And the author of this book is Anthony Parinello. Okay, so I'm going to just share a little bit from this book. I'll put a link to the book in the comments so that you can go and take a look at it for yourself. But what happened, let me just share. Let me just read. All right, I'm going to read. I'm talking about the element of time. As a solopreneur, as an entrepreneur, as someone who is running a business and managing a business, time is your most important factor. You can spend a lot of time making no money. So you have to look at how to get the best bang for your buck, how to make the best of your time so that you are making money in exchange for time, and not just spending time doing things that feel like business but actually are not making money. One thing about business, when you're interfacing with customers can and will take up a lot of time and spend no money, not secure any services from you, not enter into any type of contract with you. And some would say, well, that's just a part of selling. And yes, it is. When you're selling, the return on your investment for selling, for the sales process, can often be very minimal. But when you are trying to really make the most out of your sales, whether you're selling your product or whether you're selling your service, what you want to do is cut out all the things that happen that eat up time that don't convert to a sale. And again, potential customers will take up an exorbitant amount of your time and then pay nothing. So what is it that helps you kind of judge how you want to spend your time? For one thing, it's going to come down to what's most important to you. Do you not mind having lots of long conversations with people and then not making a sale, not gaining a paying customer? Is that okay for you? If that is okay for you, I would say you're probably not really in business yet. All right. You might have a business, but you're not really in business yet, if you're okay with that. When you're in business, there has to be an intention to make financial gain. If not, maybe you just need a nonprofit. which still needs to make money, but the money is not necessarily, the money comes in different ways, all right? You can get the money in different ways. But if you're in business to make a profit, to make revenues, you have to always be thinking about how time and money work together, all right? So I'm going to read a little bit from this book. Again, it is The Secrets of Veto, Think and Sell Like a CEO. And most of the book is really written to people who are selling. It's written to salespeople. And if you're in business, you are selling. Doesn't matter what your product is. If you don't want to sell, you shouldn't be in business. But actually, even if you're an employee, you should be selling your services as an employee, a W-2 employee, to your employer so that you can make more money. All right. So this book is really written to salespeople, but it's written about CEOs. All right. How to think and sell like a CEO. All right. So this chapter, or this part I'm going to read a couple of different sections, and it's about the element of time. All right, so I'm reading from page 51, and then I'm going to jump over to another page. All right, it says the heading on this one is called the element of time. Every CEO I've ever met lives in a time compressed world. Okay, a time compressed world. A CEO, Chief Executive Officer. All right, if you are a solopreneur, if you are in a small business, maybe it's just you and one other person, and you're running your business, you are your CEO, and you are your CFO, your Chief Financial Officer. You could hire someone like me to be your virtual part-time CFO, but that's up to you, all right? Anyway, but you're definitely your own Chief Executive Officer, CEO. All right, starting again. Every CEO I've ever met lives in a time-compressed world. CEOs evaluate everything by the critical element of time. If you are really running a real business with intentions on making revenues, you should be concerned about how you spend your time. You should be concerned about maximizing the use of time, regardless of anyone else who may not understand the value of your time. And very often, customers will not understand the value of your time. You have to help them understand the value of your time. All right, customers and potential customers. Usually when someone becomes a customer and they experience the positive outcomes of the services you provide, then they begin to value your time. But up front, unless it's someone who's experienced, who's already had, let's say they've already had someone who carried out the role that they want you to carry out, and they understand the value of that, right off the bat, they may not understand the value of your time. All right. You're going to have to teach and train your customers and potential customers to value your time. All right. Okay. CEOs evaluate everything by the critical element of time. How long will it take to realize a particular goal? How long will it take to bring a particular product into existence? How long do we have before a new piece of technology turns our market upside down? All these things you're thinking about as a CEO of your business. How long, okay? And because you're thinking about how long, you're also thinking about how can you make the best of what is right now, all right? Back to the book, okay? This focus on time means that at the end of every equation you balance, you must add the critical element of time. Okay, so in everything you're thinking about your business, about your product, about your service, about working with your customers, about providing excellent service to your customers, about helping your customers get excellent outcomes, everything you're thinking also about time. Time, in most cases, is more important than money. If you have time, you can make money. Also, if you don't have time, it's going to cost you money. There may be something that you need done in your business, and you don't have the money to pay someone to do it, but it's a critical factor of your business and it has to get done. So that means you're going to have to spend your own time getting it done. And it may not be something that you're an expert in, but if it's critical and you don't have the money to pay someone, it's going to cost you time because now you have to fix it. On the converse, you may have something that happens in your business and you have the money to pay someone to do it for you. And it could be something that you know very well how to do, but it might not be the best use of your time, and you have the money to pay someone. So instead of spending your time doing that thing, you spend your money and pay someone else to do it. And then you can spend your time doing something perhaps that makes more money. All right. So money and time, there's going to always be this interplay between money and time. This is why one of the reasons why CEOs are extremely cautious of time. All right. Now I'm reading from page 52, just one short line. The author says, here is what my experience with CEOs tells me they truly fear. Number one, wasting precious time. CEOs fear wasting time. And number two, being forced to take part in a conversation on topics they know nothing about. I'm not going to deal with number two at all because right now I'm specifically looking at time. So I'm going to move over to page 53, near the bottom of 53, where it talks about the fear of wasting time. And I'm going to read from this section. Okay. Time is the most important resource at any CEO's disposal. When it is invested wisely, a CEO solves lots of problems and makes measurable progress toward goals. A CEO, a person in business, a person who is doing business wisely, invest time. They don't just spend time, but they invest their time wisely. You don't tend to see people in business who are really, really about making sure their business is profitable. You don't see them doing things that waste time. You don't see them too often just spending time, just frivolously spending time, but the time that they have, they invested in their product or their service wisely. Investing time in a product or service wisely means they know what they should be doing, when they should be doing it, and that's what they do with their time. All right. Okay, back to the book. When time is wasted, the CEO loses ground and is likely to change physical and emotional states in a way that makes other people wish they would have called in sick to work. Okay. They hate to waste time. I hate, oh my gosh, wasting time. I cannot just give my time away like that. I invest my time, as should you. All right. CEOs will do virtually anything to avoid being in a situation in which they have no choice but to waste time. It is because the CEO understands the value of time. Even when the customer doesn't understand the value of time, the CEO understands the value of time. As a potential customer, sometimes you may feel like the CEO or the owner of the business has cut you off. What that CEO has done is evaluated the conversation up to now and determined whether or not it is a good use of their time. They have evaluated what needs to happen so that they can know if what's going on is a good investment of their time. All right, back to the book now. I'm at the top of page 52. This fear of wasting time is so strong that top officers go out of their way to hire people whose sole job is to make sure that unproductive squandering of the boss's time never, ever happens. They hire people to make sure their time doesn't get wasted. All right? These people, of course, are called gatekeepers. And despite the popular misconception, they are extremely powerful. Okay, a gatekeeper, most of the time a salesperson or a customer spends a lot of time trying to get past the gatekeeper so that they can get to the decision maker. The gatekeeper's job is to make sure the salesperson or the whomever is a good use of the CEO's time. That's their job. All right, and it is extremely powerful, this book says. Back to the book. These are folks, gatekeepers, these are folks who have been given the duty of making every conceivable attempt to protect and in some cases even manage the CEO's time. Yes, the CEO's time needs to be managed. They know more about the business than anyone else in the organization, sometimes even the CEO themselves. And they know how to work efficiently without broadcasting that fact. All right. So I want to talked about time. I want to just kind of key in, take a closer look at this whole concept of gatekeepers. If you're a solopreneur, entrepreneur, small business person, you don't have a human gatekeeper, but you still need gatekeepers in some sense to help you guard, protect, and manage your time. So as a solopreneur, if you are going to push your business to the next level, your processes become your gatekeepers. Your processes become your gatekeepers. Whenever you go to do something, for example, purchase a home, you have to pre-qualify for that home. All right. Or when you go to buy a car, or not so much with a car because they kind of work it out with cars, but with a home. A lot of realtors, the realtors who are protecting their time, will not even take you out looking at a home until you've been pre-qualified. Why is this? Because the realtor does not want to use their time taking you to see homes which you cannot afford to buy or that a bank will not approve you for a loan. So you have to get pre-qualified first. We need to know how much spending power you have. And then they go on to ask you other questions about your wants and desires, your neighborhoods and things like that, so that they can zero in on getting you to what you can actually afford to buy. Now, the realtor will say it to you as if they're doing you a favor, but they're really doing themselves a favor. It is a waste of a realtor's time to take you to a house that you cannot buy. Doesn't matter how beautiful the house is. Doesn't matter how great the conversation is that happens when you're walking through the house and all the dreams and visions that you see while you're walking through the house if you cannot afford to buy it. Now, you can go to the new home models and walk through them all day long because that person in that house is being paid an hourly wage to sit there and monitor you as you walk through the house, but they're not walking through it with you. If you want, it's your time. If you want to spend your time walking through houses that you can't afford to buy, dreaming and having visions, that's great. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, it's something me and my husband used to do all the time. We just love to go looking at model homes and having great conversations about it. But that's something we did on our free time or on our date day or something like that. But when it's time to make money, you pre-qualify. So even as a solopreneur, a small business person, you have to have a way of pre-qualifying potential customers before you start investing time. You have to have a gatekeeper of your time. Otherwise, like I said in the beginning, a customer or a potential customer has no concept of the value of your time until you preface it for them. So how, as a solopreneur, how, as a small business person who cannot afford to hire a gatekeeper, your personal assistant, an executive assistant, whomever, and pay them a wage at which they can afford to live. If you don't have that person in place, or there's virtual assistants which you can hire, who can take some of that, who can help with some of that guarding. But how do you, as a solopreneur, have a gatekeeper? Your processes, within your processes, have to be some way of pre-qualifying a customer to see are you and them a right fit. In your processes is the gatekeeper. So for example, for my business, Well Done Tax and Business Services, I have processes. And I can tell you this, because of my processes, I probably have less conversations than people who with potential customers than people who do not have these processes. Some people would say, well, if you get out there and just sell your business, you spend your time and sell your business, you talk to more people and you make more sales. And there is some truth to that. Everyone has to decide, every entrepreneur, every small business person, every solopreneur has to decide how they want to spend their time. Do you want to spend your time having small conversations with lots of people, or do you want to do it a different way? For me, at this point in the game, all right, I've been doing this for 17 years. And I've structured myself in ways where, anyway, I'm not going to tell you all that, but anyway, I've been doing this for 17 years. Where I am right now, my processes are to do videos like these, which are very instructional. And I write blogs, which are also very instructional. I will answer some questions in writing, or if someone who's not a customer asks a question. I love questions. I will answer questions. But most of the time, I'm either going to answer that question in the form of a blog or in the form of a video. And then it will be up to the person who has asked the question to watch the video or read the blog. I do it that way for a couple of reasons. Number one, I can educate lots of people at one time. And it allows me to create content that I can share with many people. And a lot of times, the high-level details of a question, the response at a high level is the same. It's not until we get into some of the nuts and bolts or the details when things start to where we need to ask more questions of you. Once we get to that point where I'm asking you questions so that I can kind of zero in on what you need, we're in consult phase. Consults are not free. Consults cost, this is how I make money. So part of my process, my gatekeeping process, is to allow questions to come in, but the answers come in the form of a video or a blog, which are free and for everyone to see. All right. The other thing I do in terms of a process, my pre-qualifying process to find out if the potential customer is ready for the services that I provide in the way that my business has chosen to do them. Other people do it differently. Okay. I'm not even going to go into why, but that's something for another video. You can ask me and then maybe I'll answer. But for the way I have chosen to do my business and the way I price my my services rather, and the way I choose to engage in business, like I'm saying, I'm your partner with your finances. I'm your partner with your communications in your business. I'm your partner in developing you as a long-term successful entrepreneur, business professional, whatever. I'm your partner. I'm not your fly-by-night. So because I'm saying I'm your partner, I intend to engage in business with you for the long term. In most cases, there are somewhere shorter, and that's okay. But my business is around engaging with you for the long term. So I don't mind taking a little bit longer to see will you and I be a good fit? Everyone's not a good fit for Well Done Tax and Business Services that is a mostly virtual provider. Everyone's not a good fit for it. So who is? How do we determine who is a good fit? And what are the processes that I go through to make sure that once we're engaging in business, that it's a good investment of your time and my time. Let me clarify. What are the processes that I have in place to help you as a potential customer decide if I and Well Done Tax and Business Services is the right place for you? All right. On my website, I do a couple things. On my website, for one, I just want customers to know if they were to go ahead and read it all, and I would, usually as I'm bringing in a new customer, I really, really try to get them. This is part of my process. I really, really try to get them to look at the details on my website. Some do and some don't. But even as people are not looking at my website, I'm observing to see what type of customer and service provider relationship we'll engage in. All right. On the home page, if you scroll down, I'm telling you, I help busy professionals, small business, and organizations. So right there, I'm already telling you, you're busy and I'm busy. I know we're busy, all right? So that's the point I'm making right there. And then if you scroll down to my mission, once again, I'm saying we help busy professionals succeed in building their wealth capacity by helping them manage their money, communicate with consistency, and maintain a hyper-capable skill set. I have said it twice that I'm working with busy professionals. Are you a busy professional? Are you a busy self-employed person? Is that you? If you have a lot of time on your hands, we might not be a good fit. Doesn't mean we need to stop there. That's just, starting to kind of define who the audience is. So within my website, within my mission statement, I am defining who my target customer is. Is it you? That's something that you have to think about. Is it you? Okay. Then over on the Meet Michelle page, if you scroll down, you see my core values. My core values are integrity. Integrity guides and guards our work and relationship with clients. Let me get my glasses so I can see. There we go. Leadership. Well Done Tax and Business Services loves helping people who take a leadership role in society, business, and in their work. Education. Now this is key. Education. We want you to be informed and in control of your financial well-being. As your partner, I'm not the only one who knows what's going on. I'm educating you so that you understand at some level, as a business professional, as a solopreneur, as an entrepreneur, you need to have some, even if you don't understand all the gory details, for us to achieve the mission of Well Done Tax and Business Services. In order for us to achieve the mission, I must educate you, and you must be willing to be educated on your finances, on your communication, on what it takes to have a hyper-capable skill set for your chosen career field or business venture. You have to be willing to engage in that with me. So right here, I'm telling you, this is what we're looking for. All right. This is who we're looking for. All right. Then on my website, I'm going to go over to the How We Work button. And this is really more videos. Okay. Just enough, just in time, so you don't have to go it alone. Here's my statement. Well Done Tax and Business Service is a mostly virtual service provider. You will see all throughout my website the words mostly virtual service provider. The importance of those words. This is part of my gatekeeper. If you're looking at my website and you are uncomfortable as a potential customer, and you are uncomfortable engaging in mostly virtual services, if you want someone to be with you, to come to your site, you know, so forth and so on, you should, that is part of the gatekeeper. It's part of the pre-qualifying process to understand whether you and I are a good fit. If you need someone on site, and I'm saying I'm mostly virtual services, right there, that's letting you know we're probably not a good fit. Again, this is part of my gatekeeper. All right, this is the whole process. The whole purpose of this video is to talk about the elements of time, the importance of time, and how you and I as solopreneurs have to build gatekeepers into our processes. All right, so back to my website. Most of our customers are busy entrepreneurs. Like I said on page 1, I'm still just driving that point in. Who's who here? Most of our customers are busy entrepreneurs, career-minded community leaders, and church leaders. So the convenience and somewhat randomness of mostly virtual services works great. As a busy professional, you're probably engrossed in the trenches of trying to keep all of your gears in motion. We're here to help. Now, that's very similar to what I just read to you in the book. That is very similar what I just read to you in the book on page 51. Every CEO I've ever met lives in a time-compressed world. A time-compressed world. Back on my website, as a busy professional, you're probably engrossed in the trenches of trying to keep everything, all your gears in motion. That's a time-compressed world. All right? Then it says, take a look at the How We Work videos below. So if you keep scrolling down, what you see is, and you'll see 4 or 5. Let's see, 5 videos explaining how we work. You can also see right here, I put a link to, if you don't want to watch them piece by piece, you can watch the full video at the whole 20-minute video in one. That explains to you how we work. In the How We Work video, I explain to you our services and how they're priced. I explain how you can mix and match services. I explain about booking appointments. Okay, this booking appointments video is very important. Probably the 2 most important videos, they're all important really. How we, the explanation of our services and mix and match. Explaining how our pricing works is important. That's important because that lets you know as a customer, this is part of the gatekeeper. Once, if you decide to engage in business with me and services, if you decide for us to become partners, this is how the pricing works. Is that something you want? Is that pricing within your price range? Now, again, there's a whole 2 ways of thinking about this. There are people who say, don't tell people your prices at the beginning because then you lose customers and you don't have time to make a sale. If that's how you want to spend your time as the solopreneur, if that's how you want to spend your time, really talking through and working through things about your pricing, to find out after all of that, the person can't afford to pay the price or does not want to pay the price that you're charging. For some customers that you're going to try and engage in business price, they're very price sensitive. They're super price sensitive. So for them, they need to know the price right up front because it doesn't matter how good your service is. In some cases, if the price is too high, they're not going to engage in business with you. It doesn't matter how much time you spend talking and selling your service. All right. So as the business, the person who owns the business, who's managing the business, as the CEO, you have to decide, is it a good use of your time to invest time in having conversations with people, with potential customers who cannot afford your price? And it's up to you. I'm not saying that I'm doing it right. It really just, it's up to you. If you want to try and push the sale, if you want to try and convince the person that the price that you're charging is something they can and will pay, that is your choice. But if you are me, you just don't want to spend your time that way. Am I letting customers get away? I am. I am very fully aware of that. I'm maintaining time by possibly letting customers get away because I'm putting the price right up front. It's a choice I make. Now, at a different economical time in business, perhaps I will take the pricing down and, and really pursue the customer. But at this stage in my game, I want them to know the price right up front. All right. I don't want to spend, this is the pre-qualification phase. Like I said with the realtor wants to know how much house can you buy right up front so that they're not spending time taking you to houses and places that you cannot afford to purchase. This is my mindset at this point. Yours doesn't have to be the same. All right. The other thing that is very important in my videos is the how we work in terms of booking an appointment. And basically, what the booking appointment, I'm going to go to the book an appointment page. Basically, what this video says in the book an appointment video, it says these things that you see here. It explains to them basically that every conversation requires an appointment. For me, this is my business model. This is my gatekeeper. All right, these are my gatekeepers. For me, the process that I use to protect my time is that I don't have conversations without appointments. Not even, does the phone ring and I pick it up? No, we need an appointment. Why? Because here's why. If I have set my schedule for the day, if I have promised a customer something by a certain time, and then I answer the phone every time it rings, I cannot then manage my time in ways to ensure that the work I have promised a customer gets done, or the goal that I have set out for the day gets done, or the item that is on my must-do list gets done. The only way I can ensure the items on my must-do list get done is to manage and protect my time. As a solopreneur, I simply cannot answer the phone every time someone calls and get the work done. So I protect my time by requiring appointments for calls, for video calls, whatever it is, there's an appointment. Then, this is all what's covered in the video. I'm talking about what you see here on the screen. What happens and how much time are we going to spend even when we do have those phone calls? If it's a free introductory meeting for a prospective client, it's a 30-minute meeting. It is up to me then as the solopreneur to manage that 30-minute timeline, to not let that go over unless I decide in that moment that this is such a productive conversation that I really believe I'm going to gain this client. And so it is worth it to me to spend a little more time on that free conversation. So this becomes my gatekeeper. And what I try to do, I try to really, when people contact me, I try to send them back to my website to explore the website to decide if we are a good fit for themselves. If a person were to keep calling, and I do have a couple of customers who kind of this doesn't work for them. And I have some that are my current clients now who kind of just have a challenge in making an appointment for a conversation. It's up to me as the gatekeeper. Remember, my processes are my gatekeeper. It's up to me as the gatekeeper to keep pushing that back where it needs to be, not because I don't want to serve my customer who's calling, but because I want to serve the customers who already have entrusted me with their work, who've already entrusted me to do the things for them. And I have those things sitting on my desk or, in my computer or my inbox, wherever they are. Those people have already entrusted me to get some things done. And so because of that, in order for me to make sure I'm using my time, investing my time wisely, I have to keep pushing back on those customers as the gatekeeper. Now remember, If you were not a solopreneur, if you were not a self-employed person, small business person, you would have a human gatekeeper. So it can kind of seem to the customer as if you're not serving them sometimes. But again, if you had a virtual assistant, if you had a personal assistant, if you had whomever, that person is talking to that gatekeeper, and the gatekeeper is helping manage you as the CEO or as the CFO. They're helping manage your time, and the customer who's calling in will still only get to you after the gatekeeper, your virtual assistant, your personal assistant, your executive assistant, makes an appointment. Unless your assistant happens to know you, if so-and-so calls, no matter what's going on, I'm going to drop what I'm doing and get to them. That's some information that you would have told your CEO, your assistant. So you can still do that even as a solopreneur. If a certain call comes through and this is somebody you have been waiting to talk to, when you see that call, you're like, oh, them. Now them. That's someone who I will stop everything, because let's say that's a customer that you've already talked, or a potential customer that you've already talked to enough time or exchanged enough information with, or you've scouted them out in a certain way, and you know that is a good investment of your time to stop whatever you're doing to talk to them. If they were to call, if the email was to come through, you kind of move things around on your schedule. When you, as a solopreneur, when you take an unexpected call, you also have to understand that means you might not eat lunch that day. You might not eat dinner that night. You might have to stay up until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning because you took an unexpected call. So you really, really want to judge, is that unexpected call a good investment of my time to the point where I may not eat? Self-care is very important. Where I may end up being up later tonight or having to get up earlier in the morning than I anticipated, that I had planned for, because I'm taking this call. You have to decide in that moment, is that the thing to do? Or do you keep your process in place, your gatekeeper? Do you keep that process in place so that you can get the client profile, the client file that you're working on right now, so that you get that done? You get your self-care. You have to remember self-care is highly important. The one thing a lot of solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, we don't take care of our own selves. Our health is falling apart. Your health is important. Your health is very important. The one thing that will stop a solopreneur or entrepreneur or small business person from working is health, or the health of a family member. As long as we're healthy, we're going to keep working. So that's why you have to protect your health. So even with your customers, is that a good investment of your time for that call that comes in unexpected, for that thing that happens unexpected? Or is it a good investment of your time to spend a lot of time talking to a potential customer? Is it a good investment of your time? Because you got to get your work for your current clients. You got to get that done. For the client, the work that's sitting on your desk, you've got to get that done. If you put your word out there that to a client that you're going to have whatever to them by whatever date and time, you need to meet that time. So your gatekeeper, your process, helps you keep that in check to make sure you meet that time and take care of your own health and well-being. It is the process of the gatekeeper. It is the processes that create the gatekeeper that also help you achieve your vision and your goals. You should have financial goals set for your business. You should know how many customers you need to serve, at what approximate dollar amount, in order to achieve your monthly and annual financial goals. Having that gatekeeper in your processes helps you protect your time so that you can use that time wisely, so that you can invest that time wisely, so that you can achieve your financial goals. All right. So I hope this has helped you, to think even in your small business, to think more like a CEO in the way you protect your time. Understanding that you can't hire someone, most likely cannot hire someone to be your gatekeeper. So you have to develop processes that are your gatekeeper. Does this work for every business? No, every business has to evaluate the flow of business, the type of customer or client that is their target customer and client, and determine what will work for them. But you do need processes that help you protect your time and increase your income, increase your revenues. All right, that is it for today. I hope this has been helpful to my solopreneurs, my entrepreneurs, just to really, really think about your processes. Really, really think about how much time you're spending with potential customers that's not translating into a long-term customer or just into a sale, whatever it is that you're looking for. That's not translating into a sale. That's not translating into a customer. If you are doing a lot of talking and not making money, you should be reevaluating how you go about making those initial uh, sales prospecting, and how you're onboarding your customers, and then how you're managing your current customers. You should really be evaluating because you are in business to make money. All right. If you're not in business to make money, if you just want a hobby, that's a different topic. If you're just doing something just because you love it, that's a different topic. I'm talking to people who are in business for financial gain, for wealth building. We want you to increase your wealth capacity, generational wealth for your family. We want you to spend your time wisely, invest your time wisely, because in investing your time wisely, you're creating generational wealth for you and your family. All right, that's it for today. Go and do business. Be diligent in business. A man who is diligent in business will stand before kings. So be diligent in business, all right? Take care. Visit my website for more information about me. Read my blogs. Look at my videos. Reach out to me. Just knowing that I am here to help. And I'm here to help you protect your time like I protect mine. All right? Have a great one.